Hello everyone and welcome to Brilliant's online edu classes. Today I am here with a prose Indigo from class 12 English textbook Flamingo. This lesson Indigo is actually an extract from the book written by Louis Fisher. In this book, he has written about Mahatma Gandhi and the way he achieved the independence of the country. Though Louis Fisher was a Britisher himself, but like many other Britishers, he was also very much influenced by the philosophies of Gandhiji, the way Gandhiji took up the freedom struggle, which was much beyond the political reasons, and that compelled Louis Fisher to write about Gandhiji. So this lesson is just an extract from the book that Louis Fisher has written on Gandhiji. The theme of this lesson is Gandhiji as a social and political reformer. So in this lesson, he is basically highlighting on that Gandhiji took up every moment not just as a political action, but also there were lots of social reformations which were associated with it. This lesson also talks about power of civil disobedience. So in this lesson, this is also highlighted that if common people come up for a social cause or for any revolutionary change, then the impact and the influence is much intensified. The plot of the lesson is Champaran movement led by Gandhiji for the Indian sharecroppers. So children, in social science, you all have read about Champaran movement. Champaran is a place in Bihar, and there Gandhiji took up the stand of the sharecroppers, about the peasants who were compelled by the British landlords to grow indigo on the land. Indigo, which actually makes the land a little barren also, so no other produce will come up properly. But the British landlords compelled the Indian sharecroppers to grow indigo and also exploited them with heavy exploitation of monetary impact. Let us see the events, children. So the very first event is Gandhiji's meeting with Rajkumar Shukla. Okay, so as you can see this stamp you can see this man Rajkumar Shukla. Now who was he? Rajkumar Shukla was a peasant, right? Rajkumar Shukla was a peasant. He was a sharecropper, an illiterate sharecropper, but he was resolute, he was determined. There were 10,000 sharecroppers who were facing the problem, but it was only Rajkumar Shukla who took up this matter seriously, and he was resolute, he was determined, and he decided to move to Gandhiji to find a solution for this particular problem. So many were facing, but he took the lead and he met Gandhiji, and so we can say that the entire Champaran movement, which got started and which also succeeded, somewhere the driving force, the initiation was done by this sharecropper, the resolute illiterate sharecropper Rajkumar Shukla. He took up the problems of peasants. Now, what was the problem of peasants? The problem of peasants was that at that time, indigo was the most profitable commercial crop in the international market, right? So the British landlords, when they used to give their land on lease to these Indian farmers, they used to compel that the Indian farmers will have to grow 15% of the total area should be cultivated with indigo, and these British landlords will take up the complete produce of the indigo, right, as a lease. Now, because of growing indigo, as I told you, that it causes the depletion of nutrient of the soil. So the other crops which were grown by the cultivators, that never used to grow properly. Okay, and the 15% which would bring a good amount of money, nothing was of the sharecropper, everything the Britishers would take. That was also fine. But suddenly, when Germany came up with the synthetic indigo, the price fell down. The moment the price fell down, the landlord said that now indigo crop we will not take, you will have to give us the money, you will have to compensate with money. Now this was the exploitation which the sharecroppers were not able to endure. So Rajkumar Shukla, he approached Gandhiji. Seeing his resolution, Gandhiji was very much impressed and he decided to take up this particular issue. And then he came to Champaran along with Rajkumar Shukla. Of course, not immediately, but he gave a date to Rajkumar Shukla that you come on that day and pick me up from a convention at Kolkata. So after a particular time span, as per instruction of Gandhiji, Rajkumar Shukla went to Kolkata and escorted Gandhiji to Champaran. Now this was the first triumph of civil disobedience. So moving there, Gandhiji realized one thing, that moving to court will be of no use, because in court also who are the jury members? The Britishers. So nothing is going to happen. So he understood that the only way to overcome this situation is the common people must come up. The fear of Britishers which has become so strong in the common people, that must get removed. And that got removed when Gandhiji went there, and Gandhiji was summoned by the court, the Britishers' court, and there was a case against him because he was fighting for the sharecroppers. There was a case against him because he refused, that he is not going to leave Champaran. And when this happened, thousands of sharecroppers from all over the area gathered in front of the court, because they thought that let us support the person who has nothing to do this problem, but he is fighting for us. And this was the first triumph of civil disobedience, because the British police couldn't control such a crowd. For that they had to take help from Gandhiji. The British court couldn't pass a verdict against Gandhiji. They had to finally dissolve the case, and finally Gandhiji also could solve the situation, and gradually it was seen that the entire ownership of the land was given to the sharecroppers. Right? So this is how it was the first triumph of civil disobedience. Then Gandhiji looked beyond political and economic solutions. So as I told you that he had a holistic approach towards any of the movement. So it was not just a political reason of going there, but he also showed that even economic aspect is not that important, because when the authority gave the order that no, the landlords have to repay and refund the money to the sharecroppers, the landlord started negotiating, and Gandhiji agreed even with a 25% refund. The Indian lawyers, they asked Gandhiji that why should we take only 25% refund? At that moment, Gandhiji said a very interesting thing, that it's not the money that is important. It is just a one-time matter. But this prestige and pride of Britisher which has come down, they had to surrender. This is important. This is going to give us the desired output or the desired outcome in the long run. And that proved true, as I told you, that finally the landlords, they gave away the land and it was taken and given to the sharecroppers. Right? In the entire struggle, Gandhiji did not take any help from any Britisher, though he had disciples like Andrew Charles who offered to be with him and help him, but he said that it's our struggle and we will do it. right? So he, in this manner, he inculcated self-reliance in the Indians, that we will not be there to take help from others. We are self-sufficient to take a solution by ourselves. Fine, children. So this is the story all about. It talks a lot about not just Indigo, but it talks a lot about how Gandhiji took up the matter, about his philosophies, and also about that even after solving everything, he didn't leave the place. He stayed there. His wife, son, and other disciples from the ashram came. He worked for education and health conditions there. He taught community hygiene to the people there. He promoted education there. And in this manner, he tried to improve the complete lifestyle of the people there. So he just didn't leave them after that political solution, but he also worked for a social reform in that place. So this makes him an exceptional leader, an exceptional freedom fighter, right? Because he just didn't focus on one aspect. He took the matter in a very holistic manner, right, children? So this is basically the gist of the lesson. Thank you for watching this video, and I'm sure that after taking this highlights, when you will now read the story, of course the entire content is known to you. You have read it before. It was just a recapitulation, and I'm sure now you will be able to attempt any sort of question that is asked from this lesson. Thank you, everyone.